still be over prepared even when it's running gun, which makes it not running gun anymore. Like, and don't get me wrong, like technically this style right here is kind of a little running gun. I mean, I set this up like in 20 minutes. I got a light right here. I got a camera right there, one camera. I got my iPad right here to, you know, to monitor my shot. And I got my notes right here on my phone. Peeps, veterans, friends, fans, videographers, cinematographers, photographers, wedding videographers, event photographers, live event camera people. Thanks for joining me on this cloudy Wednesday. I just wanted to share with you a few mistakes that I made when I was younger. Well, I'm still young. Anyways, yeah, I'm still young. I'm in my 20s. We're still young, we're still vibrant. But anyways, a lot of mistakes that I made in my early film days that I wish I would have known sooner. To start off, wearing shorts or just whatever to gigs. Today, in how I go on gigs is usually in all black attire. But back when I first started, I mean, pretty much all of my camera gigs, I was just coming in with anything I felt like wearing that day. Like I was just going a day to the park or amusement park or just hanging out with friends. That was probably a mistake. Now that I look at it, it probably hurted my brand a little bit. Like I said, my second wedding I ever shot ended up going viral over the internet. It hit CBS News Miami, Good Morning America, Pop Sugar Magazine, Brides, like all these big magazine companies, and it got me worldwide notoriety. And had I probably marketed myself, presented myself in a better fashion, I would probably be a lot further than I am today. Which, I mean, I'm pretty far today. I mean, I think I'm pretty good today. But I feel like I could have definitely been a little bit farther than I could have been a little bit further than I currently am had I presented myself a lot better. Like today I wear, not too fancy, but you know, a casual polo shirt, some black jeans, you know, just overall dress attire, just depending on what event. Actually, no, for all of my events, I usually do an all black attire for when I'm working out, treating it as like a job. Because at first, I mean, like I said, I was just wearing anything. I was coming in with some cargo shorts, some white, like a white t-shirt, not even the best white t-shirt, just random white t-shirt, like a t-shirt I got on now, some orange shirt, pulling up to like a function or something, or just hanging out in the park or something like that. So that was a mistake I made in my early film days that I could have probably done a lot better. Bringing no lights to weddings. Bringing no lights to weddings, I was kind of just relying on my natural resources, which don't get me wrong, it works, but always being prepared in case I needed them. And that's one thing I didn't do in my early film days, is I wasn't as prepared as I could be. I had this one style that I would go to every shoot and just gun it. Like before I got my Mark IV, I was on Canon T5. The Canon T5. I was on the Canon T5, and I had my little shotgun mic, and I had my one 18-55mm kit lens, and I had my DJI Ronin M, and that was my setup. That's pretty much where I pretty much did every shoot, and one tripod, but that was pretty much how I just did every shoot. And granted, that was my budget. That's what I could afford at the time. Whoa, that was lightning. But yeah, granted, that's what I can afford at the time, and I think it was appropriate, but at the same time, definitely probably hurted my quality of work a lot. But like I could have rented, I could have this and that. Like I guess that involves extra money, extra time, stuff like that. So that can all depend on timing, whether you know what's in your budget. But I think my fault personally is I wasn't open to new ideas, new things at the time. Like I was kind of like, you know, my talent will speak for itself. The equipment doesn't matter, which the equipment does not matter to an extent. Equipment, it does not matter to an extent, but being arrogant about it, even though you're getting booked, even though look, here's the thing, even though you get booked for gigs, there's like certain brackets that you can put yourself in. Like, you can get booked for a lot of gigs, but are you getting, you know, this little, you know, 200 there, 150 there, 250 here, $50 here, you know, instead of getting, you know, like more retainer clients and higher paying clients. And my biggest downfall in my earlier days was when I got booked, I'm like, okay, I'm booked, okay, I'm cool, you know, I'm cool. You know, getting a little arrogant, getting a little cocky because I'm getting booked, but I'm not getting like the big money gigs to really, you know, push my career forward. And I think I had that mindset for a little while, and because the COVID pandemic kind of shifted that a lot, because when that hit, I had 0 gigs, 0 retainers, 0 money, everything. Like everything just stopped. Everything just stopped, and you know, it humbled me a lot. It humbled me. So. Going back to, yeah, be prepared for gigs. Be prepared, like be more prepared than what you currently are, and always be open to learn. I think that's what a lot of filmmakers be forgetting in their early days. They, like I said, they get the gigs, they get that notoriety, they get that proven skill. They get, what's the word I'm looking for? Acknowledgement. They get that approval. They get that approval of like that they're good. And what they're doing is good, art is subjective, everybody has their own opinion on it, and boom, that's how you get stuck in a certain bubble where what you're doing is great and everybody else is wrong, but you're doing it right, you know? And I fell into that category a little bit. I definitely got out of it now because like most of my work now, I get what my bigger like projects and I get called for now are bigger gigs, and they mostly use Sony. It's not a Canon guy, and I've learned Sony. And I wasn't like, oh well, you know, I'm on Sony, whatever. No, I was like, let me stay humble and me get on Sony, and I learned that, and that's what's keeping me consistent today and learning a lot of new things and getting exposed to a lot of different cultures and a lot of the big paying work. So always be open to learn. This is a very important one that I very well looked over myself. Not paying attention to white balance. I feel like this goes without said, but I'm going to show some examples. I did not pay attention to white balance when I was first starting out. Like, I don't know why. I wasn't paying attention to anything on the camera. I was like, oh, well, you know, my talent speaks for itself. And what happened was, let me see, what they have. Sorry, the thunder it's storming here right now, so it's a lot going on. And what happened to not, you know, paying attention to white balance, I didn't know. Like, why is my video looking blue and why is this one looking good? And, you know, when you're dealing with a client that doesn't really know much about videos, they're not gonna point it out for you. They're not gonna know. They just figure, okay, that's just how it looks. You know, that's just how it looks. The only way that they'll probably figure it out is if they look at like a different video or different videos and they realize, why is my video looking like that and this? And you know, they're not gonna really know. So there's no way. Like, my clients were telling me, oh, my work is great, it's amazing, looks great. Meanwhile, my videos looking bluish and like bluish outside and, you know, orange inside. It's you know, I'm gonna show you some examples because like I'm at the point where I could show my previous work and not laugh at it. But yeah, pay attention to your white balance. Pay attention, learn your camera settings. Just pay attention to all that in general, because this is what really separates you from being good to great. And even though I was booked, I was critically acclaimed, I've been on several magazines, several newspapers, all that, I knew I still didn't know my settings. I wasn't really knowing them to the max capacity I could be, and I was limiting myself like a lot. I was limiting myself a lot, and I like just discovered this because this year I've been blessed with getting booked and working with actual professionals that, you know, this is their livelihood, you know, they're 25, 30 years older than me, been doing this way longer than me, got a whole family, and support themselves off of just this, you know. So that was an eye-opener. Everybody has went through this at some point in their film career. The run and gun style. While I always do favor a good old classic run and gun style, at some point, you know, you gotta look back and think, like, do you still want to do this? How do you, like, I look at run and gun style as chasing gigs in your 50s. Like, don't get me wrong, I still love the classic run and gun style. I still love it, but there's a time and place for everything. And I feel like still be over prepared even when it's run and gun, which makes it not run and gun anymore. Like, and don't get me wrong, like, technically this style right here is kind of a little run and gun. I mean, I set this up like in 20 minutes. I got a light right here. I got a camera right there, one camera. I got my iPad right here to, you know, to monitor my shot. And I got my notes right here on my phone. So, I mean, this is not really run and gun. It looks very professional. If you look from it from an outside perspective and, you know, look back in here, you can see the level of production that this can probably be at. But, you know, the run and gun style is hit or miss. It's hit or miss. And I recommend, if you don't want to be trapped in that run and gun style, to definitely learn production. Like, legit learn lighting, learn audio, learn that something that's just not gonna be done in 20 minutes. Unless you really have to, but plan out your shoots. Plan them. Planning out your shoots gives you a moment of, like, it gives you clarity on what you're actually going to achieve, so you don't waste time. You got a shot list, you got a production team, and you treat it fair, you treat it good, because when you do run and gun, you're facing so many different elements and, you know, situations on what could possibly happen, because you don't know what's going to happen. It's better to be prepared than just do it. And like I said, sometimes run and gun does favor each other, but if you specifically want to move up and get like very higher paying gigs, I recommend learning production to the T, practice lighting, go through all your camera settings, know the technical side, and like learn that. That's what people are paying you for. People are paying you for quality. They're not paying you to show up and just, you know, well, I don't know what to do. So this is what I think, to do this and that, and that is, and granted, it works on some occasions, but like my idea of running gun today, bring one like mobile light. I mean, we are in the world of 2025. We are in the year 2025. We are in the era of content creation. You can get all this stuff cheap on Amazon. Get you like a little Quasar light for about like 60, 70 bucks. Get you one of these mics, you know, like little running gun mics, and you know, you can still get some quality content even if you're running gun. That's my personal take on it. Don't just go out there with some cheap equipment and just, you know, whatever we capture. Like I said, it works in some environments. It works when it needs to work. But if you want higher paying gigs, if you want to really get to the higher stake of getting paid gigs, I recommend learning all this production. And this is a huge one. Not knowing my camera settings. Believe it or not, I've been doing this camera stuff for like, I don't know, 11 years now, going on 11 years professionally, and I'm just now learning white balance, like officially, like actually understanding it, aperture, shutter speed, you know, ISO. I'm legit now actually fully grasping that concept, because before that I was just turn on my camera and just pressing buttons until it looks good, which is an excellent teacher. Probably the best way to learn. It's the best way to learn. I mean, the best way to learn is from experience. But once you learn it, it makes you so much confident on the camera, and it also produces way better results. So I would recommend, if you can, learn your camera settings earlier than later, because it'll benefit you in the long run. That was a mistake I made. That I didn't know my camera settings, and I just turned the camera on and I, you know, just play around with buttons until something looks good. And yeah, that's pretty much what I got on that. The number one rule, which I'm gonna always probably say, is always be open to learning. You never know too much, especially with this camera stuff. The camera stuff is always evolving. This industry is always evolving. Technology is always evolving. Never limit yourself from learning. That's probably the most important thing. That's the mistake that I did make early on when I was just getting my own gigs. You know, I'm just like, you know, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Like, who are you to tell me what I don't know? You know, I've been on the news. I've been, you know, I got critically acclaimed, you know, mentions on huge magazines and all that. Cool. It's 2020. I had no work and I was still living with my parents. So always be willing to learn. Always be open to learning, no matter how good you think you are or how like public approval you have gotten, like accolades. Always be willing to learn. That concludes my first episode of like just mistakes and tips and tricks on camera stuff and lighting and all that. I'll get into more lighting over the weekend. I'm doing a big interview with my grandma over the weekend. I want to definitely use that as an opportunity to really practice lighting in full. So you'll be seeing a lot more of these. And if you enjoyed this video, please click that like and subscribe button. And I will see you next time.